Unity is in the process of creating one of the largest trading blocs in Africa. And with the admission of Congo DRC, this is actually expected to deepen trade and cooperation within the bloc. But what are the prospects once you have DRC Congo formally admitted into the EAC? Well, joining us this week on Inside Government to help us understand the impact of DRC Congo into the East African community is the PS in charge of East African community, that is Dr. Kevit Desai. First of all, I want to hear your thoughts. Are you excited about, Congo formally now becoming a member of the EAC family?
Indeed, it's a monumental transformation to Kenya, to the region, and indeed with respect to even on a world standing. I mean, after all, you're looking at a major integration process which has occurred, which brings together 7 partner states together, and that would mean that almost 300 million people will be part of this federated community, and in time to come, through its efforts in its first phase of a confederation and then subsequently a federated union. And within that context, that would make it the 4th largest population in the world. After India, China, the United States would then come this East African region. What separates it from a mere trade bloc is the fact that the East African community looks at 16 sectoral councils and looks at all aspects of harmonization, from security to education to healthcare, and all aspects of a country's affairs. And I think that this harmonization, this integration then promotes the highest level of leveraging capacity and synergy within the context of finding solutions for social, economic and environmental issues. But Brian, you'll also consider the fact that with DRC Congo joining us, that's 2.5 million square kilometers, making the total size of the geographical location to be 5 million square kilometers. And this would make it the 10th largest mass of land, consisting of mineral resources, but also enormous potential for our key industries, like, for example, tourism, which would benefit greatly by way of having an extended value proposition for a tourist to see one of the most epic journeys of their life, consisting of coasts in Mombasa, savannas in the hinterland, and one of the greatest forests in the world in Congo. And so I think that within the context of all areas, the value proposition for integration is extremely high, but provided it comes in within the context of our community's treaty principles, which promote a people-centered, market-driven approach towards integration, and thereby enhancing the overall welfare of our people, our citizenry, but also the wealth of the partner states put together.
Apart from bringing on board about 90 million people and an economy about 52 billion US dollars, what else is Congo bringing to the table?
The diversity of the people is absolutely critical for us. The ability for us to leverage from diversity within the context of the East African region is of paramount importance. It's pivotal to our ability to promote innovation and social and economic transformation. But it's also the rich natural resources that we share, whether it's forests, rivers, the ability for us to see how we're able to transition these natural resources and natural produce into value addition, that scale of economy which determines the success of markets as well as the scale of investment. It's also the fact that one of the most important world trading routes will consist of a connection between the Indian Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean, thereby linking to approximately 1.2 billion people within the continent, but creating one of the most progressive transportation and logistics sector within the continent, and the linkages to the very arteries and nerves of every part of the region, all the way to a village. So in itself, this promotes a high level of economic transformation, but it also promotes a high level of opportunity for movement. People are able to move within the context of being an EAC citizen and finding their purpose in life within the context of 7 partner states. It promotes greater levels of capture with respect to mitigating security issues by way of, as you've witnessed recently, a conclave has been established with respect to East African Community partner states, engaging and seeing how they're able to support and resolve issues of security and enhance the overall capacity of security within the East African region. And so there are many, many advantages, together with our ability to fight pandemics. In the last 2 years, we've established reference laboratories within the East African partner states. We've created an E1 health strategy, which helps to consolidate all efforts of partner states towards resolving issues of non-communicable diseases. We have found ways in which we're able to ensure that the alignment of qualifications are there, thereby promoting recognition of skills and competencies and education in one country across the entire region.
Of what significance is the fact that, and this is, for Kenya, is the fact that now the East African community will now be linked to two oceans, and you're talking about the Indian Ocean as well as the Atlantic Ocean on the other side of DRC Congo. How critical, of what importance is this to Kenya?
As a Jubilee government, the focus and priority has been to ensure that the East African community, the region, the collective region, is a key strategic vehicle for the prosperity of not only Kenya's affairs, but the entire region's affair. We are interrelated, and therefore, we are highly dependent on one another's success. If I can illustrate further to you, some of the agricultural produce is produced in different parts of EAC for the protection and food security of Kenya. And our ability to work as a region becomes absolutely necessary, not only for aspects of food security, but also scale of economy and opportunity. And so the aspects of the importance of Kenya's vision within this has been illustrated best by several achievements within the context of its chairmanship. The first, of course, being the pivotal role it played to promote the highest level of efficiency and speed of DRC joining the East African community through its chairmanship. The second is to now realize those gains by reviewing the Common Market Protocol. The Common Market Protocol is the lifeblood of how we're going to interact as partner states. This will include our ability to bring, above all, consensus on the free movement of goods, the free movement of people, how they're able to acquire residency, share social services in each partner state. Efforts that we're putting in place to review it, to modernize it, to ensure that it's reflective of transformation, to be inclusive to small, medium enterprises in view of the fact that they play the largest potential by way of growth. We've also looked into another very important area, the common external tariffs. This indeed is a game changer and shows the seriousness of consensus towards nurturing greater levels of industrialization. It promotes the higher value addition of productive capacity, the ability for us to build value chains across East Africa. And what it focuses on is a 4-band structure, starting with raw materials, then semi-intermediate goods, intermediate goods, and finally finished goods at 35%. Now, indeed, all of this helps industrialization because it promotes the nurturing of investment towards industrialization in view of the fact that we have such a large market. And so I think that, indeed, these are the efforts that have been put in place in terms of priority, ensuring that we're able to jumpstart the overall gains of what we've achieved by way of DRC joining us. And I think that the common external tariff will play a significant role in this.
What is the significance of all these? I mean, to the banana farmers in Maragua, to the fishmongers of Homa Bay, to coffee and tea farmers, from Machakos. Of what significance is the fact that EAC is expanding and DRC Congo is coming on board?
It has a direct transformative relationship to the small-scale holder and the vast majority of citizens within our country by simply promoting greater levels of equity to access to markets. It does this through various mechanisms that have been established over the last 2 years. For example, the simplified trade regime structure enables small-scale SMEs to trade efficiently across borders and formally. It does this by reducing the transactions, it does this by facilitating, and then therefore enhances the overall penetration into markets. And it's for this reason that fishmongers from Turkana are able to export all the way to Congo, because of a delicacy of a fish that's appreciated in Congo, and therefore has to pass through various mechanisms, including the massive investments that you have witnessed by way of intermodal transport systems, interstate transport systems, but also regional transport systems. The other enabling factor is indeed that such stakeholders require a market which enables them to trade fairly. And within this context, the government's efforts to secure and develop cross-border markets within border crossings have been a key priority in order to establish trade hubs and interconnections with other trade facilitators throughout the region. Finally, the common external tariff and the common market create a holistic ecosystem by agreeing and building consensus on standards. It means that the banana farmer can process bananas into crisps and so on, and into many other different kinds of products like pastes, etc., and so on, and be assured of a market of 300 million people. I mean, this promotes a nurturing sense of local produce, which to a certain extent, through a flexible structure, puts priority on a shoemaker, someone who's making vegetable processed food, to enter a high value addition market within the context of having that security through the common external tariff. This also enables a small-scale SME to leverage from growth capacities by being a value proposition for investment, in view of the fact that once the market's guaranteed and the supply is assured, and the various transactions as far as the movement of people, the movement of capital, the movement of goods are concerned, then trade is bound to flourish, and therefore, the potential of investment and the value proposition towards investment grows tremendously.
The expanded East African community, all the other 6, 5 member countries, they share a border with the DRC Congo, except Kenya. And bearing in mind that Kenya is a dominant economy in this bloc, how then do we advance our agenda, our economic as well as social agenda?
We have, over the last couple of years, focused on priority areas, ensuring that the EAC becomes a key strategic enabler. And within that context, as a nation, we've witnessed, for a fact, a massive investment by way of our intermodal transport systems, thereby reducing time and cost of transportation and the transaction efficiency. At most of the border posts, we've seen that what used to take 2 days is now transacted within a couple of hours, showing the determination towards promoting commerce within the context of our economic development. But further to that, the value proposition of manufacturing and our growth and our development is dependent on market access. And it's with this in mind, we have concluded 3 major achievements. One is indeed the inclusion of DRC Congo and a 300 million plus market. The second is the conclusion and the consensus towards the common external tariffs, thereby guaranteeing 60% of our manufacturing base a transformative future. This means 6,000 tariff lines have been agreed upon. This is enormous. The fact that we have agreed to 1,500 tariff lines to meet the requirements of the African Continental Free Trade Area gives us access to approximately 40 plus countries within the context of EAC. All of this is part and parcel of assuring that we will be determined and are in a position to now scale our manufacturing to something that was never imaginable before. And this could be the value chains of the automotive industry, where Kenya is already making parts for cars, or it could be the agricultural value chains that enable us to access raw produce for export abroad into the very many different blocks of the world. It could be the leather industry, the textiles industry, the minerals industry, the tourism industry, and all of this is impacted by the fact that, systems and structures are in place which address aspects of policies, legislations, regulations, and standards, and that enable an enabling environment between supply and demand and access to efficient capacities to market. So indeed, I think that from this perspective, it's extremely promising.
You're bringing on board a country with a population of 90 million people, and so far you still have a number of Kenyan companies who are operating in DRC Congo. You're talking about Equity Group, you're talking about Brookside Dairy, who are exporting milk to Congo. But as a country and as the dominant economy in the region, how do our business people, how do our traders, take advantage of now the expanded market to deepen their investment and to expand their operations?
Indeed, Brian, this is already happening. At a recent study, we have seen that the immigration has increased within the partner states, the 6 partner states, by up to 5 million. This has doubled over the last couple of years, showing a natural tendency and enthusiasm by East African citizens to migrate into each other's countries. What's also astonishing and transformative and really encouraging is that the majority are women. Women are the ones who are migrating most. And we see this even in the context of trade. We see that there are 2 million women involved in commerce. This is incredible. This is a great achievement because they show resilience, they show business acumen, relationship development, and investment capacities. And indeed, we are beginning to see that this movement occurs naturally within the context of trade.
You'll be able to move with your Kenyan qualifications, to Burundi, to Congo, and work from there or work in that country with your grades and qualifications being recognized by the academic institutions in that country.
That's true, and that's true, and that's a great facilitator. And we're also working on now doing the same for carpenters and technical vocational training graduates, so that artisans, craftsmen, master craftsmen, technicians can also be recognized. And so all of this will promote an extraordinary opportunity for movement into different areas of opportunities where livelihoods will be developed.
Congo is bringing on board, significant amount of minerals, natural forest, and a huge swathe of arable land that is ideal for agriculture and farming. How do we, as a bloc, expect to take advantage of these and ensure that, number one, these resources are exploited responsibly, and number two, they help the bloc?
So indeed, the size of the bloc now, the size of the community is very large at 5.5 million square kilometers, and creates ample opportunity to address challenges of food security by way of the value chains that we construct, but most importantly, how we're able to interconnect the partner states so that we once and for all do away with lost harvests and harvests that erode due to time and cost of transportation. So the transport and logistics sector and our harmonization of standards will play a major role. The ability to transition our value chains into high yield opportunities is not only for the continent and for the community, but also for export reasons. And this land size would tremendously assist that. But it would also mean that we would be able to specialize in different areas and government priorities. We've seen this in the health sector, for example, where each of the partner states has chosen a particular area of specialization. Kenya has chosen the Kidney Institute, for example, the Urology Institute, and various other partner states have chosen other specializations. And so I think that as we work together, we would work off the most beneficial strength of each partner state in order to galvanize opportunities of value chains, being in realization of the fact that we will be assured that the market exists. And so the priority value chains that we hope to look into are indeed the leather value chain, the textile value chain, which covers everything from a seed to ginning, spinning, weaving, and onto fashion, the value chains of the automotive and transport sector, the value chains of mining, the value chains of finance, the value chains of tourism, and all of these are significant. They're significant in each partner state, but collectively would then be a major aggregator, and so the community would become an aggregator of sort for all these value chains.
Bringing Congo into the East African stable, was the easier part, and now the hard part of ensuring that it is well integrated, it is comfortable within the bloc, and that all the necessary instruments are ratified, lies ahead. So where do we go from here as a bloc?
So the immediate value proposition indeed is the success we've had with respect to the common external tariff. That demonstrates to any business person within the EAC that the East African community is very serious about nurturing businesses across its entire value chain and providing it with capacity in order to promote the necessary technology transfer, access regional markets, find equity in markets, and so on. And so I believe that this step has been foundational to the proof that the entire system will work, because the consensus has been established on a four-band structure, 0, 10, 25, and 35. And this now promotes the highest level of conviction with respect to ensuring that we are ready for manufacturing, we are ready for industrialization progressively. And within this context, the key outcome of the industrial strategy of the EAC will then be fulfilled. Secondly, the review of the common market looks at all aspects: services, goods, people, capital, and all of this has an implication by way of how we're going to interface. That protocol enables you to feel accommodated and comfortable in your investment and your ability to work in another country. So these two areas are fundamental, together with all the different aspects of what we're doing within the context of the 16 sectoral councils, and spanning everything from security to health and so on, which determine an ecosystem that then facilitates the rapid realization of this integration process, and it demonstrates the technical workings now of the political resolve for integration. And I think that this will be now unfolded within the context of this new achievement.
As we wind up this interview, I also want to hear from you. End of June, Congo is expected to be formally admitted into the bloc. And so what happens after that?
What happens is that together with, at end of June at the summit, the ratification of instruments would have been done by the DRC Parliament, and therefore these instruments will be presented to the EAC heads of summit. This would be the formal part of Congo joining us in its full capacity, and subsequently a plan will be established with respect to how they engage and when they engage within all the requirements of the customs union, for example, how we're able to set up and merge the one-stop border posts, the efforts we put in place with respect to harmonizing our tariffs and structures for import and export, what we do with respect to the transaction efficiency of cross-border activity. And all of this will then be achieved in a systematic and structured way in time. This would also be complemented by their enrollment into the common market, how the movement of people within partner states would be achieved to EAC standards and to the EAC treaty, their rights of residence, their ability to transfer capital, goods, all of this, together with key areas of the financial and the macro system, will be established under the monetary union. The budget reading times, the ability to subscribe to the monetary union, the efforts towards creating specific centers of specialization along the value chains of the monetary union. And then indeed the work that we're doing within the context of the political confederation, where currently the EAC is developing the constitution. And within this context, this would also be availed with a view of ensuring that people participation becomes a priority as it sort of establishes this constitution for the confederation. So all of this will take place within a stage process, a process that ensures that within the context of their sovereign state, they're able to transform their policies and legislations and regulations to now accommodate a harmonized system which already exists within the 6 partner states. The pronouncements of interconnectivity, trade reform, commerce reform, and social welfare as well as social gains have been achieved. And I'm hoping that from this space, the next chair would be able to then take this manyfold forward on this very strong foundation that we've achieved over the last 2 years.
Thank you very much indeed, Bwana PS, for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, we have been talking to the Principal Secretary in the State Department of East African Community, Dr. Kevit Desai, on what is the importance of DRC Congo becoming a member of the East African Community, and of course, what do we stand to gain from this admission as a country? And of course, you have had it from him. You have been watching Inside Government. Thank you very much indeed for your time. My name is O'Brien Kimani. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon.